Hi, Overwatch Practice Group. This is Viper759, and this video will cover how to practice your DPS and healer positioning. Essentially, whenever you're, how to practice your DPS and healer positioning to make main tank's jobs easier. Let me just turn my sound down real quick because I don't want this on. All right, so we're going to go create a custom match here by going to play and then create. I'm going to load my settings up and then we're going to cover them. I already have a one for this. DPS positioning practice is what it's called. So a few items on here. We're using a full lobby. We don't swap teams after match. So 6v6. The map you're going to use, you're going to hit none and then choose Volskaya Industries as your map on Assault. Heroes, you're going to go here to General, and you're going to change the damage received on the heroes to all heroes on 50%. Your next step here is Roadhog. You're going to go down and change his damage dealt and damage received to 10%, and his movement speed to 50%. And that is all you need to do for your custom settings. Now you're just going to add AI here. We're just going to go recommended medium. Medium is very important for this. This is because of damage reduction. There's a few things I like to do here. One, Zarya is really annoying because of the bubbles, and I don't feel like getting bounced around. Who you're playing against doesn't really matter. I wouldn't put a Mei on the other team. Two, I don't want a Roadhog on the enemy team because that's who you're going to be focusing around looking at. So that's a thing that you don't want to have to deal with. I do try to have unique characters, so Bam Bam, Zenyatta, Lucio. On your side, what you want is, instead of a Ana, you want a Zenyatta and a Lucio for your side. And I just give them the same thing, and I gotta make this a Reaper, because we need something close in to have to work around. So, what you're going to do here, the main concept behind this is, whenever you have a shield tank on your team, there's two things they can do to protect you. The first one is they can use their shield. The second one is they have a lot of armor, and that they have like a Zenyatta heal on them, a Zenyatta orb on them. They're actually getting heals, and you can take advantage of that. So you're going to want to go Hanzo for this, and the reason we're going with Hanzo is that you need to get used to peek shooting around your tank. So, Diva, Reinhardt, Orisa, Roadhog, they all have large hitboxes. And you can actually use them like little portable walls in a team fight to pop out of, fire, pop back in. And what this does is then it lets your healers focus on just healing the tank, because you're taking less damage. So let's say you have a Lucio. He's doing the AoE heals and is getting actually all the DPSs healed and the main support healed, while the Moira only has to focus on the main tank off tank if everyone does this effectively, because the enemy will have a hard time getting an angle on it. The trick to it is you have to watch where their damage is, where your tank is, and then try to position yourself so that your tank is always between you and their damage. Now, Roadhog's a little slow, but he'll get on point, and the reason we made him slow is it's hard to keep up with him at 100%. This is the one AI bot they have, but the concept is there. So I'm just gonna start here, and the idea with Hanzo is really simple. I'm gonna try to peek out, take a shot. Which I apologize, it's 4 a.m. and I'm tired. I have my sounds off to record this. It's way easier to do a sound. But what it's doing is getting you battlefield awareness. So there's a Reaper right there. There's some targets right there. McCree, I'm really having to... You're not going to be able to get it perfectly, but I'm really having to work, right, to keep with behind my Roadhog. And apparently I enabled someone with a boop, which is annoying. I forgot to turn off Lucio boop. So you can see I'm staying behind my Roadhog as much as possible is the goal. You're not going to be able to do this perfectly, of course, right? But now that you're getting used to tracking it, when you go into a match with, say, your Reinhardt or somebody, you're going to be able to coordinate with them without communicating much better. As you can see right here, I'm just trying to let the Roadhog absorb as much damage, pull my arrow back, pop out, pull arrow back, pop out for shot. You know, I'm obviously missing a bunch, and Lucio doesn't help. It's really useful when you have a target like Reaper, who would normally shred people, that if you can get behind your shield, that can be really, really a handy thing. Sorry, it's really hard to do this and talk at the same time, but you can kind of see the concept of me I'm jumping around and I'm making sure, watching the damage threats, and just trying to be behind my Roadhog. Now, because of the fact the AI is taking 50% less damage, you're pretty much not going to get a lot of kills. It's going to be impossible to do this perfectly. But what you are doing by building this skill is it's harder than it would actually be in a match in a lot of ways. Because in an actual match, you would be getting kills, and you'd be playing a champion you might be better with than Hanzo, like Reaper or Soldier. But you're creating the awareness is what's important. There's an important detail here that I haven't seen happen yet, but if they sleep Hog, crouch underneath them. And this is another thing. If they sleep your tank, crouch right behind them and use them as cover. Because what's going to happen at that point is, well, I want to disable that Lucio boop. At the end of this video, we'll do that. What will happen at that point by you being crouched behind them is they'll be forced to wake your tank, because they have no option if they want to hit you due to the size of the tank hitbox. And sometimes there's no good position, so you notice what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to just position myself around the main threat in this fight is Reaper. There's a Soldier, there's a Reaper. I don't really care about the Lucio, obviously, from a damage perspective in comparison to the others, but I'm really trying to position myself around not taking damage from their main threats. Because Lucio hills will compensate for a lot, and Zenyatta will handle the rest, and I completely just lost my Roadhog. Okay, so Lucio hills are going to compensate for a ton of damage, for a lot of damage, but it will not compensate for direct Reaper hits. On the other hand, Zenyatta plus Lucio will compensate for direct Reaper hits pretty well, and especially with if you're a tank, you have armor and really good Roadhog, you have your self-heal. So you have to decide who's the priority target to not take damage from in this environment. And in this case, it's Reaper, and I'm trying to position around never being with direct line of sight to Reaper except when I want to shoot him. As well, what you want to, it's really the main skill you're picking up on this is building your line of sight and just hopping out, taking targets, and not taking damage is the goal. Let your tank take the damage. And player tanks will not move around in such crazy manners as this, but if you get to the point where you can keep up with this Roadhog, and you can keep up with where that Reaper is at as well, you're going to do pretty good in a public match, because team fights won't last this long, and this technique will help you win a team fight very quickly. But you can see, I'm just kind of jumping around here. I'm getting it. And even though you don't necessarily, when you jump, right, when you maneuver, you're going to do a little bit less DPS. One of the rules of combat is stay alive, kill the enemy. So the longer your team stays alive, even if it's just a damage output race, who can put the most damage out to outdo the healing? Well, if you have a Zenyatta and you have a Lucio or a Zenyatta or a Moria or any of those things, if they can focus their healing on one target, that helps a lot. Because healers have a harder time healing people who are dispersed, but if they're able to focus on one or two targets only, and that's most of their healing, you can much easier win the hills versus damage war. And I'm having to pay attention to where my Hog gets booped. And I think that's actually why I did leave the boop on, is because this way when he jumps, you really have to, you're being aware of where he's at and trying to position around it. So this will go on for a long time, actually, until the match ends, which sometimes this can go on for 20 minutes because nobody dies. But that's the point of it. You're getting good training time. And yeah, that's about it. If you guys have questions about this or have any input, just let me know. And I hope this video is useful to you. Oh, you know what? I did forget one thing that you need to do. So after you set those settings and the lobby that we set up, go to type your preset name here in description and then hit save preset. Like I'm just going to put that. Or yeah, type your preset name here and hit save, and then you can come back and recreate it anytime you want. So like I said, I hope this is useful to you. And thank you for watching Overwatch Practice Group.